Hi everyone and welcome to Just Love. My name is Paula and I'm here with Judy. Hi Judy.
Hi Paula, hi everyone.
So we have two messages today. The first one, turning negative into positive, and many pathways.
Okay, thanks Paula. The first message entitled, Turning Negative into Positive. Certain happenings and situations recur and certain souls meet again and again throughout many lives until these happenings, situations and encounters can be turned from negative into positive. These recurrences will of course be in different times, places and circumstances, and the stage will be set accordingly. It is for this reason that you must learn to practice unconditional love and tolerance towards those around you and approach life's challenges in a positive and compassionate frame of mind. For until you do, you will be brought together again and again, and the situation repeated endlessly. This pattern will continue over many lives until a lesson is learned, the rough edges knocked off, so to speak, and love and positivity begin to take root and bloom in your heart.
Turning negative into positive is again about reincarnation. The message comes to an end saying, this pattern will continue over many lives until the lesson is learned, the rough edges knocked off, so to speak, and love and positivity begin to take root and bloom in your heart. And the message also says, so patience, unconditional love and tolerance towards those around you, practice unconditional love and tolerance towards those around you and approach life's challenges in a positive and compassionate frame of mind. This is something that our teachers repeatedly tell us. We've been speaking about reincarnation over the past couple of episodes, and again, this message reminds us that we can balance our karma in this lifetime when we do these things.
Yes, for sure. And this is where quietness and meditation are so valuable. It's only by quietly going within that we can become aware of where our karma lies. And this conscious awareness really helps us to work with it, especially if the karmic situation we find ourselves in is not easy. We don't necessarily have to remember where the roots of the karma lie, but being consciously aware tends to help us deal with it in a better frame of mind.
So can you give us an example?
Yes, Paula, a really good example is my friend who I spoke about in episode 129, who is a full-time carer for a family member who has serious mental and physical health issues. She can recall a life from way back when she was one of the ETs who were assisting in the further humanisation of the primate human species known as the mixtures that had been created by the reptarians as a slave race. The ETs ended up leaving the planet and abandoning the mixtures to their fate of exploitation by the reptarians, which continues to this day. The mixture she was helping back then has reincarnated and still carries her DNA, her ET DNA, so she is now in a position of having to assist and care for him, thus balancing the karma of having deserted him in the past. This karmic debt has been carried over many lives, and the opportunity has finally arisen to allow it to be balanced. Remembering its source has helped my friend to deal with it appropriately.
That's like we said in the last episode about observation, acknowledgement, and action. This also explains how karma is more quickly dealt with through the expansion of our conscious awareness, which is what our evolution as humans is all about.
Yeah, that's for sure. Exactly where we're heading. Okay, so here is the many pathways message. The fact that God's source exists is not in question. Problems arise when we try to connect back to this source and the various paths that have been laid down for us to follow. God is oneness, and therefore above and beyond the inherent imperfections of duality. But the paths leading there have been built by humans who are not infallible and therefore capable of errors in trying to interpret the ways to God. With this in mind, use the pathways as guidelines by all means, but do not place all your faith and trust in them to take you in the right direction. Some of their builders have lost the way and become confused in the wildernesses of their own mortal minds, and so the paths that they lay down lead no further than their own ego-driven illusions. If you become lost upon such a path, you will suffer much from hunger and thirst of spirit, for the sustaining food and drink of unconditional love is lacking. You may be distracted and deceived for a time by what you believe to be truth, only to find on examining it more closely that it is nothing but a mirage, an illusion of what you truly seek. You will find yourself wandering in circles, frustrated and confused, blinded by superstitions and fears, and unable to find your way clearly through the maze of dogma. The original builders of these pathways may very well have had the right intentions, but large sections of the way can very easily become lost and buried beneath the sands of time, and guiding signposts can be knocked down and destroyed, so that eventually much of the original path is lost and forgotten. Be wary of any path or belief system that is based on fear or ego, for the only true path back to oneness is love. It is for this reason that you must learn to think for yourselves. Follow the path by all means, but look frequently within for guidance and trust in your own intuition, for God dwells within, not outside of yourself. Your footsteps may need to divert a little, or even perhaps a lot, but your way home to oneness source will be so much quicker and easier for you if you follow your own pathway, for each of you is unique. The path that suits one may not suit another, so choose carefully and do not be afraid to trust in self, because God's source is there, deep within each and every one of you, giving guidance and love and lighting the way for you in everything that you seek to undertake. By all means, look to the various belief systems of your planet for guidance, but also be aware that most belief systems tend to place a ceiling on what you may accept as truth and reality. True soul evolution can only take place through a mind that is flexible and open.
So, to reiterate, the message says be wary of any path, belief system that is based on fear or ego, for the only true path back to oneness is love. So seek love out. Choose love and go within. God dwells within, not outside of yourself. Again, choosing love is amplified.
What we need to understand, God energy is unconditional love energy. That's the bottom line. And unconditional love operates through oneness. It is not about one religion or culture being better, truer, or more pleasing to God than another religion or culture. It is about love, tolerance, and respect towards all.
So, Judy, can you expand a little more on what you mean when you say, by all means, look to the various belief systems of your planet for guidance, but also be aware that most belief systems tend to place a ceiling on what you may accept as truth and reality. True soul evolution can only take place through a mind that is flexible and open.
Okay, Paula, as the message says, the original builders of these pathways, meaning religions and belief systems, may very well have had the right intentions, but large sections of the way can very easily become lost and buried beneath the sands of time, and guiding signposts can be knocked down and destroyed. So eventually, much of the original path is lost and forgotten. A perfect example is the difference between the modern version of the Lord's Prayer and the original Aramaic version that we talked about in episode 126. The translation has lost so much of the original deeper meaning, thus creating a lower ceiling, which hides the higher meaning contained in the original version. Another good example is on page 104 of my Extraterrestrial Presence on Earth book, where I talk about a man by the name of Mark D. Siljander, the author of a book entitled A Deadly Misunderstanding, A Congressman's Quest to Bridge the Muslim-Christian Divide. Mark Siljander is a linguist who has read the Koran in Arabic and the New Testament in Aramaic. By doing this, he came to realize that nearly all the misunderstandings and points of prejudice between Muslims and Christians are due to the Greek and then English translations that distort the original meanings. These inaccurate translations have effectively placed a ceiling on what followers of these belief systems can accept as truth and reality. I can see the planetary controllers very much at work here behind the scenes, subtly and deliberately changing original meanings in order to stir up divisiveness and misunderstanding. The other major problem is that these translations have been lowered down to 3D understanding, whereas the original teachers such as Jesus, Mohammed, Buddha, etc. are much higher evolved souls who expressed higher dimensional concepts. I mean to say, you only need to look at how Christianity tends to depict God as an old bearded man up in the sky somewhere who demands worship, doles out punishment and is jealous of other gods. These are all very unevolved human frailties. Even the concept of heaven being up in the sky somewhere is total misunderstanding. It really refers to places of high dimensional energy frequencies, way beyond the physical 3D Earth plane. Many people simply cannot get their heads around the fact that God is simply a very high frequency universal energy, as is Allah, Brahma and any other labels that earth plane religions have put on God.
So good. Thanks, Jude, for such an insightful answer. At least our understanding is slowly changing and evolving, which is a really good thing. And it also creates a sense of freedom, like you say, and it is all a part of a divine design. It's all playing out as it should. All is perfect.
Yes, for sure. As is explained on page 104 in my E.T. Presence book, Mark Siljander spends time in constructive debate with Muslim and Christian clerics and scholars to try to overcome these misunderstandings. If people can just train and discipline their minds to seek out and focus on positivity rather than negativity, the world will become a much more loving and peaceful place to live. People need to understand that continually seeking out and focusing on negativity is a habit that is just as dangerous as alcoholism and drug use. It lowers your vibrational frequency and blocks your evolutionary path. This is why the reptilian controllers encourage negativity and fear. It's a very effective way of holding humanity back on their spiritual path.
That certainly gives us some food for thought. So just to clarify a bit more, on the one hand, we have the planetary controllers very much at work here behind the scenes, stirring up divisiveness and misunderstanding, preventing us from living in harmony. And then on the other hand, we are told that it's all playing out as it should. All is perfect. That seems like a dichotomy. Can you help us find meaning between these two very different views?
Yes, I can. In the greater reality, the controllers play an important and in fact a vital role. Our evolution as a human species depends entirely upon the free will choices we make in our minds. In some cases, as for those living under political and religious dictatorships, they cannot always put these choices into open practice, but just being consciously aware of the wrongness being perpetrated is enough. The requisite test we're undergoing as humans involves a choice of being sucked in by all the political and religious prejudice and intolerance, or seeing through it as being a divide and conquer agenda. A deeply polarised planet such as Earth is a perfect testing ground to determine whether we see through the controller agendas and instead choose oneness, or if we get sucked in by them. This is where these ranting politicians and fanatical religious extremists play their role so well. They operate by appealing to all the lower human traits and emotions that drive racial and religious prejudice and bullying. Do you get sucked in, or can you see through them? This is the major choice being presented to humanity right now.
For sure. In other words, the planetary controllers have their own all-important role to play in the greater reality to provide us with this free will choice which determines whether we're ready to evolve to the next level or not. So if you want to read more about all of this, Judy's books are available from Amazon and can be accessed through links on her website listed below. Her books are
Human by Day, Zeta by Night, followed by The Zeta Message, then Extraterrestrial Presence on Earth, Lessons in History, and my two most recent books, both Kindle editions and both also available in German, An Interview with an Alien, Comments by an Undercover ET, and cosmic spirituality, blending religion and science in oneness from an off-planet perspective.
Thanks, Jude, and thanks everyone for listening. Please share, like, and subscribe. Sending you all much love, and bye for now.